just like that, 2022 is drawing to a close. And in the world of video games, I'm sure we all have our respective games of the year. We have Elden Ring, we have Stray, and for some bizarre reason, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. We could have had our King's Arthur, Knight's Tales, but you know what, that's a story for another day. Long story short, 2022 has been a busy year for releases, patches, and a whole lot of fanfare when it comes to gaming, and it's awesome. We can't deny that it's been a great year for games big and small, but there's one particular franchise that lay silent for most of the year, before it unleashed the blades of chaos in the fourth quarter and smashed the competition in the most glorious fashion, in my most humble opinion, of course. Aside from a few updates over the span of several months and teasers that confused a few people, God of War came out swinging and reminded everyone why Kratos is best dad. And his ongoing story is the best redemption arc since Avatar's Prince Zuko. Well, maybe. So, sit back, relax, and let me tell you why God of War Ragnarok is my game of the year. Just so we're clear, I've played all of the God of War games, each and every one of them. So, as a gentleman and a scholar, I wish to throw my opinion into the fighting pit. The original God of War was what made me fall in love with anything PlayStation. It was a brutal action platformer that was very on brand with the times. There was hyper-violence, gore, and a lot of shouting. Perfect for a growing boy like me, of course. You mowed down the Greek pantheon like the Giga Chad that you are and took no prisoners. Kratos himself was never a typical hero. He never saved the day, and he was most definitely never saved the people, or at least never intended to. He was a man turned god on a mission, and that was to exact revenge on anyone responsible for taking away the ones he loved. In the end, it was all about saving himself. From a wrecking ball of uncontrollable rage, he became a calmer, gentler figure. After years of violence and slaughter, he finally found himself becoming a family man once again. But as the fates would have it, he was once again dragged into his old ways thanks to the gods in his new neighborhood. A stranger in a strange land, he sets off possibly one last time to finally find inner peace. I'm an absolute sucker for Greek mythology, and I love the game Age of Mythology. So I'm still hanging on to the idea of Kratos going to Egypt just to punch Ra in the face, and we all know how we'll feel if that doesn't actually happen. Disappointed! Kidding aside, my newfangled love for the Greek mythos led me to the Scandinavian tough guys and girls in this installment, the Norse gods. They're hardened badasses who fit in perfectly opposite to Kratos. Imagine a world where you can't pass on to a peaceful afterlife if you don't go down fighting. Just how badass is that? Valhalla, Asgard, and all the other Norse realms have their fair shares of stories, and they're more enjoyable than one would think. Tales that'll tug on your heartstrings, or just straight up creep you out. Thor is much more than just an MCU character, or a big dude with a lightning hammer, and there's more than meets the eye in the world created for God of War Ragnarok. It's a compelling story on its own, and definitely one that you won't be forgetting anytime soon. Both the previous game and Ragnarok had amazing storytelling, and you'd know once you played them both. Not gonna lie, I was pretty curious as to how they'd pull it off, going into Norse mythology and all, but then again, it is God of War, so it was a logical step to begin with. Still, there were so many ways to screw it up, and I'm so thankful they didn't. God of War Ragnarok has a powerful, moving story that'll bring out all of the feels. We all know the bond that Kratos and Atreus share, and it only gets stronger this time around. It isn't perfect, I mean it never was from the start, but that's what makes it all the more relatable. I don't want to go too deep into it, cause we've been treading spoiler territory, so let's just say that the father-son dynamic goes just a bit more smoothly this time around. There's less bickering, well, there's still a little bit, and more fatherly care in this adventure, which, character development at its finest, hello. The 2018 game was just preparing us for 2022's emotional roller coaster, and if you're down for the ride, I highly suggest you buckle up. So, we've covered our main guy, his ongoing story, and the cruel, unforgiving world he navigates. But hey, let's not forget one important detail. God of War Ragnarok is neither a full-length motion picture, nor an epic novel. It's still a game, in every sense of the word. So, how does it play? Gameplay-wise, super satisfying. The combat, the RPG aspects, the weapons, and the interactions with the other characters all tie in neatly and smoothly. God of War 2018 gave us something shiny and new, and Ragnarok did its best to refine it. The living, breathing, semi-open world is a bit more open this time around, and the enemies, well, they're just as brutal as you'd imagine. The franchise's music and sound design have always been on point, and even more so in Ragnarok. Whether you're running through the snow or fighting for your life mid-air, you'll feel like you're part of it all. The blows feel like they hit much harder, and sheer impact of every snap, crackle, and pop will definitely resonate. It's an audio-visual spectacle worth enjoying, and best believe I had the time of my life experiencing it all. If you're a fan of Greek mythology, hard-hitting action, and a good story, there's no reason not to play God of War Ragnarok. If you've followed the decade-long epic of the godly god killer Kratos, then it's worth seeing things through. It's too early to tell if this is actually the end of his story, and if it isn't, we're definitely looking at a crucial turning point. Kratos is no longer the character we've come to know and love in 2005. Now, he's more human than he is God. We've gone from murdering Perseus to nurturing Atreus, from unbridled rage to mellowed with age, from tormented soul to finally, possibly being whole. It's a one hell of a game and joy to experience, and that, my friends, is why God of War Ragnarok is my game of the year. But hey, what do you guys think? Have you played God of War Ragnarok? Did you enjoy it as much as I did, or do you have a different candidate for your game of the year? Make sure to let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Make sure to click the like and subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you when I see you. GG, WP.